My wife disappeared after our honeymoon, then I found her diary in the hotel room. They say the first year of marriage is the hardest. For me, it was the first week. My name is Ethan James, I'm 32, and the love of my life, my new wife, Olivia, 30, disappeared after our honeymoon. 1 minute, she was there, her smile as bright as the Hawaiian sun, and the next, she was gone. Vanished into thin air, leaving no note, no trace, no goodbye. My world, once so full of light and happiness, was plunged into a terrifying darkness. I searched for her for days, a frantic, desperate scavenger hunt for a ghost. Then, in the hotel room, tucked beneath the mattress, I found it, her diary. A small, unassuming book that held not just her secrets, but the terrifying truth of why she had to leave. My wife disappeared after our honeymoon, then I found her diary in the hotel room. Let's start at the beginning. Our wedding was perfect, a fairy tale, surrounded by our families, my parents, Linda and John James, both in their late 50s, and her parents, Mary and Richard Vance, both in their early 60s, and our friends, my best man, Tom Davies, 32, and her maid of honor, her sister, Sarah Vance, 28. It was a day of pure joy, a celebration of a love that felt unshakable. Our honeymoon was a dream come true. We chose a beautiful, secluded resort in Maui, a place with white sand beaches and endless blue ocean. The first few days were pure bliss. We swam, we laughed, we talked about our future, about buying a house, about starting a family, about all the adventures we would have together. Olivia was radiant, she was happy, she was the woman I loved, the woman I married. But then, things started to change, subtly at first. She became a little withdrawn, a little more quiet. I'd catch her staring out at the ocean with a faraway look in her eyes, a look of profound sadness. When I asked her what was wrong, she would just smile, a beautiful, sad smile, and say, "Nothing, honey." Just lost in thought. I attributed it to the post-wedding blues, a common thing I'd read about. I never imagined it was something else. The day she disappeared, we had a wonderful morning. We ate breakfast on our balcony, watching the sunrise. We talked, we kissed, we made plans for a snorkeling trip later that afternoon. I went down to the front desk to arrange the trip. I was gone for maybe 20 minutes. When I came back to the room, she was gone. At first, I wasn't worried. I assumed she had just gone for a walk on the beach, or to the pool. I waited. An hour passed. Then 2. My worry turned into panic. I called her name on the beach, my voice raw and desperate. I went to the pool, to the spa, to every place she might be. Nothing. I went back to our hotel room, my heart pounding in my chest. Her things were all there. Her clothes, her jewelry, her phone. The only thing missing was her. I called her cell phone. It went straight to voicemail. I called the police, a frantic, tearful call. My words were a jumbled mess of fear and confusion. The police were kind, but they also seemed to think she had just gone for a walk, or was having a moment. They assured me she would turn up. But I knew something was wrong. I called her family, her parents, her sister, Sarah. They were as shocked and confused as I was. They couldn't believe it. Olivia would never just leave. We were madly in love. They came to Maui the next day, a somber, silent procession of disbelief. Her parents tried to comfort me, but their own grief and worry were a tangible thing. Sarah, Olivia's sister, hugged me tight, tears streaming down her face. "She would never leave you, Ethan," she sobbed. "She loves you more than anyone." We all searched. We put up posters. We talked to every person at the resort. No one had seen her. No one had a clue. It was like she had just vanished. Disappeared. The police started to get more serious. They brought in a K-9 unit. They searched the entire island. Nothing. It was a ghost hunt for a woman who was supposed to be my wife. A week had passed since she disappeared. Her family had to go back home, their lives, their jobs, their other kids needing them. I stayed. I couldn't leave. I couldn't go home without her. I was a ghost in the resort, wandering the halls, looking for a glimpse of her face, a hint of her presence. One night, exhausted and heartbroken, I went back to our hotel room. The room was a painful time capsule of our last day together. Her suitcase was open, a half-packed bikini on top. Her toothbrush was still in the holder. Her perfume was on the dresser. I felt like I was drowning in memories. I sat on the bed, my head in my hands, a silent, heartbroken wreck. And then, I noticed it. Something was sticking out from under the mattress, a small, dark corner. I pulled it out. It was a small, leather-bound book. Her diary. I had no idea she kept a diary. I felt a pang of guilt. This was her private life, her secrets. But my desperation, my need for answers, was greater than my sense of propriety. I opened it, my hands shaking. The first few pages were innocuous, about our dating life, our wedding plans. Her excitement, her happiness, her love for me was all there. I read her words, a raw, painful testament to the woman I knew. Then, the tone started to change. The entries became more fragmented, more frantic. She started to write about a man from her past. A man named Daniel. She wrote about him with a mixture of fear and dread. "He's back," she wrote. "He found me. I thought he was gone forever." My heart pounded. Who was Daniel? What did he want? Why was he back? I frantically flipped through the pages, my eyes scanning the words, searching for a clue. The story that unfolded in those pages was a nightmare. Olivia had a past, a dark, terrifying past, that she had never told me about. Before me, there was Daniel. He was a wealthy, charismatic man who had swept her off her feet. He was charming, attentive, and deeply in love with her. But as time went on, his love turned into an obsession. He became controlling, possessive, and, eventually, violent. She wrote about the abuse, the fear, the isolation. She had tried to leave him multiple times, but he would always find her. He would threaten her, her family, her friends. He was a powerful man with a lot of connections, and he used them to keep her trapped. Finally, a year ago, she had managed to escape. She changed her name, moved to a different state, and started a new life. She met me, and she fell in love. She was happy, she was free, she thought she was safe. But he never gave up. He was a predator, and she was his prey. A few weeks before our wedding, he found her. He contacted her, not with anger, but with a chilling calm. He told her he had forgiven her. He told her he still loved her. He told her he would let her go, but only if she met him one last time. He wanted to say goodbye, to give her his blessing, to let her be happy. The last few entries in the diary were a heartbreaking testament to her inner turmoil. She didn't want to go. She was terrified, but he had a hold on her. He had a way of getting into her head, of making her feel guilty, of making her believe that this was the only way she could truly be free. She was afraid he would ruin our lives, that he would hurt me, my family, her family. She was afraid he would destroy our perfect life. She wrote about a final meeting. A meeting in Honolulu, a flight she booked a few weeks before we came to Maui. She was going to meet him, to say goodbye, to get her life back. She left a note for me in the diary, a final, heartbreaking message. My dearest Ethan, it began. By the time you read this, I will be gone. I have to do this. I have to end this, once and for all. I love you more than words can say. Please, don't look for me. Live your life. Be happy. I love you, always. My heart was a raw, bleeding mess. She hadn't left me. She had left for me. To protect our life. She was meeting him, a final, desperate act of a woman trying to get her life back. I looked up his name, Daniel Black, 42, and a flight number from her diary. It was a flight from Maui to Honolulu that afternoon, the same day she disappeared. I rushed to the police. I gave them the diary, the name, the flight number, everything. They were stunned. They had a missing persons case that had turned into a crime scene. They launched a full-scale investigation. They found him. He was a powerful, connected man, just as she had said. They found him in Honolulu, a quiet, unassuming hotel room. But Olivia wasn't there. He confessed, a chillingly calm confession. He had met her, just as she had agreed. He had told her he loved her. He had told her he was sorry. He had given her his blessing. And then, he had pushed her. He had pushed her off a cliff overlooking the ocean, a beautiful, isolated spot. He had watched her fall, a final, desperate act of a man who couldn't have her, so no one else could. My world, which had been a terrifying mystery, was now a horrifying tragedy. I had lost her, not to another man, not to a change of heart. I had lost her to a monster from her past, a monster she had tried to protect me from. I was a widower before I even had a chance to be a husband. My honeymoon, a celebration of life and love, was now a funeral for a life that was taken too soon. I went back to the hotel room. The room was sterile, cold. The scent of her perfume, once so comforting, now felt like a ghost. I packed up her things, her clothes, her jewelry, her phone, a final, painful act of a man whose life had been shattered. I found her diary again, the small, leather-bound book that held the truth I had so desperately needed but now wished I had never known. I went home. The funeral was a quiet, heartbreaking affair. Her parents, her sister, her friends, my family, my friends, all of us gathered together, a group of broken, confused people trying to make sense of a senseless tragedy. They all read her diary. They all understood. They all grieved for a woman who was a victim of a terrible past, a victim who had tried, in her own way, to be a hero. The police arrested him. He was a powerful man, and the case was a long, drawn-out process. But with the diary, with his confession, with the evidence, justice was served. He was put away, a monster behind bars. But justice didn't bring her back. Justice didn't heal my broken heart. I was left with a silence that was deafening, a loneliness that was unbearable. Every day was a painful reminder of a love that was taken from me. I looked at our wedding photos, our honeymoon photos, and I saw a woman who was happy, who was in love, but also, a woman who was afraid. A woman who was hiding a secret that would eventually take her life. My wife disappeared after our honeymoon. And in her absence, in her diary, I found the story of a woman who was a hero, a woman who was a victim, a woman who loved me so much that she made the ultimate sacrifice. And I, her husband, was left to live a life she had tried to save, a life that was now forever haunted by the memory of a love that was taken too soon, a love that ended before it even began. And sometimes, when I'm alone, I look at our wedding photo, and I think I can see a shadow in her eyes, a shadow of a past that was always there, lurking in the dark, waiting to take her away.